Yeah, so no equipment, and we're going to be working on hips and shoulders. We're going to be working in a slow cat-cow today, which I know most of you guys are familiar with in the cat-cow position. If you have any like blood pressure issues, or you're pregnant, or you kind of get dizzy or anything like that, don't ramp up as much as I'm cueing you guys to ramp. Just keep it a little bit lighter. But if you've no issues like that, I want you to really think about trying to create lots of tension through the body to try and really isolate each section of the spine. But what we'll do is we'll just do one light one to begin. So I'm going to get you to get your hands in underneath your shoulders, your knees in underneath your hips. And we're going to try and start with the tailbone. So you're going to start by tucking that tailbone under, lifting up through the belly button now. So just that lower back is starting to move. Lifting up through the mid back. Again, we're not creating too much tension at the minute. We're just kind of getting you guys warmed up. Lift up through the chest, almost like your chest bone is on a piece of string that's being pulled up towards the ceiling. And then we're rounding the head, tucking the chin. We're going to start with the tailbone now again. So you can tuck or tip the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Drop the belly button down, the lower back down. The chest comes down. Chin down and chin up. Now what we're going to do is really think about ramping up that tension. So I want you to grip the mat with your fingers, kind of start creating tension through your glutes as if you're trying to open the knees out to the side, and then we're going to start really, really slowly tucking that tailbone under. So you can see that my legs are shaking. So you want that amount of tension. We're lifting up through that belly button. You might get a little bit of a cramp in the abs when we're doing this as well, so don't worry too much about that if that happens. Lift up now through the rib cage. Imagine that chest bone is being pulled up towards the ceiling, and then round through the back and tuck your chin. Try and hold here for a second or two, and then again, slow and controlled. Lots of tension as if the air is thick. So you want to imagine the air is like treacle. You're moving slow-mo. The tailbone tips up. The lower back comes down towards the mat. Our rib cage starts coming down towards the mat. Our chest down towards the mat. Chest up, chin up. I'm going to get you guys to do that again. Start by tucking the tailbone under. Really slow and controlled. I'm just going to let this one person in. So think about creating that tension, tucking that tailbone under. Lifting up through the spine now. Pull, 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 pull. Rounding through that upper back and then tucking the chin. We're going to try and hold here for a second or two. And then let's reverse. So tailbone tips up towards the ceiling. Belly button drops down. Rib cage drops down. Really nice and controlled. Chest drops down, scoops forward, and then the chin comes up. Let's just do one light one. You can kind of move a little bit more freely here just to kind of release out any kinks in your back or any sort of tight spots in the back as well. What we're going to do from here now is a shoulder car. So again, get set up for staying in this quadruped position. Your right hand is going to come out with your thumb up towards the ceiling. I want you to imagine your torso as a table, so you don't want to spill any of the drinks or anything like that. So keep the torso really steady. We lift that arm up. For some of us, it might be your chin, might be your cheek, others might be your ear. In this position, we rotate the bicep in and around, and I try and reach back. And again, I'm not opening up to the side. My chest stays facing down towards the mat. My belly button stays facing down towards my back, and I'm going to keep this arm up and out behind me as I reach it back and around. Yeah, lovely. Now, let's bend the elbow, tip the back, keep the elbow high, straighten the arm again. We're going to try and warm up the triceps. Bend the elbow, tip the back, straighten that arm behind. Bend the elbow, tip the back, straighten the arm. We're going to do that 2 more times. And then keep that arm straight. And you're going to lift up and around, come back the way you came. Again, lots of tension, nice and controlled. Bring that hand down to the mat. And then let's go again. A little bit faster this time. Bring it up by your cheek again. Let's rotate from the bicep, reach back and around. Keep that arm straight up behind. Just one tip on the lower back, then the elbow. And then straighten the arm and come back around the way we came. Try and keep that arm high, but shoulder down, chest nice and level. and then coming back down. Nice. We're going to do the same on the other side. Let's go to the ground so you can see. Again, left hand out in front. Tummy tight so that back stays nice and flat. Let's lift the thumb up towards the ceiling and rotate in and around. Again, you may notice that there's differences between the two sides. That's totally fine. Just take note of it. So reach back and around. We keep twisting that arm in as the arm comes back behind us. And then I'm bending the elbow, just tipping my fingertips into the lower back. Let's straighten the arm then. Bend the elbow, tip my fingertips into the lower back. Let's straighten. We're going to do that 3 more times. Bend the elbow, tip the lower back, straighten. Good, so the triceps should be nice and fired up. Now let's straighten that arm and reach back and around. You can see I'm rotating that bicep up towards the ceiling as I bring that hand back and around, bringing that down in front of me, and straight away we're going into that second rep. A little bit faster now, and we're only going to do that one tip into our lower back. So I'm bending that elbow, tipping my lower back, straightening the arm, and then coming back around, bringing my arm up by my cheek or my ear, and then down onto the mat. You can lean back if you need to, just roll out the wrists, and then we're going to go back into our quadrupeds again to do a bit of wrist work. So again, just try and get them a little bit warmed up. What we're going to do for this next one are called push and pulls. So again, most of you are familiar with it, but if you are new, we basically bring our joint to our end range, and then we want to do push and pulls in that position as if we're doing almost like a wall sit. So for our wrists, I'm going to get you to come into a kneeling position. You're going to have the hands flat on the ground, fingers pointing forward. And then you just want to lean forward and see where you can go into that wrist flexion. So for some of us who may be further back, others might be quite far forward. If you're quite far forward, just bring your knees underneath so you're a little bit more supported. We're going to hold this position for a while, and then we're going to do some push and pulls. So when I say push, we're thinking about pushing the fingertips and the ball of our hands down into the mat. We're going to push in 3, 2, 1. So trying to indent our fingers and our palm into that mat. We're trying to straighten that hand, but the floor is in the way. And now we're going to pull. You're thinking about digging the heel of your hand down into the mat, pulling those fingertips up towards your forearm, but you're not going to change the position. Yes, exactly. Keep the arm straight. Watch that. No, there's no elbows bent. Lovely. Keep pulling up, 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 up. We're going to push again. Fingertips down into the mat. Try and keep the fingers flat as well. Watch if there's any curling of the fingers. And then let's pull. Dig the heel of the hand down. We're kicking in all those muscles in the front of our forearms. Keep the arm straight. Pull those fingertips up. And now what we're going to do, some of you may need to just slightly bring your knees back. We're going to try and keep that tension on. We've done this one before. We're leaning back. I'm letting my fingertips come up, and I'm trying to hold that angle with my hands as we come up out in front. So you see I keep pulling those fingertips back, back. Keep my ribs tucked. So we're coming back into that kneeling position. Exactly, guys. We're reaching up overhead towards the ceiling. And I'm trying to get my palms, my hands flat, pushing up towards the ceiling. Again, you may notice that one hand doesn't want to stay quite as flat, so my right hand's trying to curl, but keep holding this position. And then let's lower down, hands together like this. We're just going to go into what's called the wrist release stretch. So as you guys have heard me say before, it's really important that we train that. If you're doing push-ups, if you're doing any sort of handstand work, and like that. Okay. We're going to come down into a side lying position now for our hip curls. So we're going to lie onto the mat. Again, you can just use your bicep as a pillow here if you want. If you have a pillow handy, you can obviously pop that onto the head, but it's not necessary. The knees are out at 90 degrees. What I want you to watch when we're doing this exercise is the hip doesn't roll back, so keep that nice and stacked over the other hip. Lift the knee just about a fist distance apart. And then what we're going to do is push that heel back behind us. We're keeping our back flat, so I'm using my hamstring glute here. We're going to hold for a couple of seconds. Good. Then we're going to lift that leg straight up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to hold, try and kick in that muscle beside the glute. Now, knee goes up, ankle goes down. Again, I'm going to try and hold in this position, so I'm slightly externally rotated here. And then I'm going to bring that knee up towards my shoulder, in towards my chest. Nice and controlled, and we're trying to hold in this hip flexion position. Bring the knee back to our starting position, and then we're going to reverse it. So bring the knee back up towards the chest, hold. Now think about dropping the knee down, ankle up, we're internally rotated here, let's hold. Good, this will be a challenge for some people. Nice, well done everyone. Let's push back and around, semicircle back to our kickback position. Let's lower down. Bring that knee back to our start position, and we're going to do the same again. No holds this time though, so kick the leg back. Lift that leg up. Nice, externally rotate. Now, this is where the challenge is going to be. What I want you to do is try and lift this foot in front of your bottom knee. So for some of us, we may need to slide that knee down a little bit. And now we're into almost like that glute stretch that we do when we lie on our back, but on our side. If you need to, you can hold on to this ankle. And what I want you to do is try to flutter that knee away from your chest. So knee in towards the elbow and chest, and then squeeze the glute. Try and push that knee away from you. So I'm using the muscles here to try and open up my hip. Knee in towards my elbow and chest. Push that leg away. Lovely. Come back in and push. Nice, guys. We're going to do one more. And push. Now, see if you can try and lift this leg in this position and keep the angle of your shin. So really using my muscles here to try and hold that position. And then bringing that leg internally rotated. So my knee is down, my ankle is up, and then I'm pushing that leg back and around into my kickback position. Hopefully everyone's glutes are nice and warmed up. Knee back into my starting position. Savage, guys. And then let's push up. I'm going to change over onto the side. So again, it's just a variation of what we've been doing before, just to make it that little bit more challenging and keep progressing, you guys. So again, knees out in front. We're going to get that hand in between the knees, so about hip or fist distance apart. And then we're going to go for our hold. So kick that leg back, squeeze the glute and hamstring, let's hold. Good, let's lift that leg up and hold. Nice, externally rotate. So the knee goes up, the ankle drops down. I'm trying to twist that pie out. Let's hold. And then let's bring that knee up towards my shoulder. Again, I'm making sure my hip's not rocking back here. I'm going to try and bring that knee down in front of my chest, and I'm using my hip flexor in the front of my hip to pull that knee in. I'm not rounding through the lower back. Okay, let's bring it back to our starting position, and we're going to reverse it. Knee comes up towards the chest. Hold. Let's internally rotate, knee down, ankle up. Hold. Good, and then let's kick back. Again, make sure we're not arching through that lower back, so our core is tight. I'm bringing my leg down. And then back to the starting position. We're going to do the same, but with no holds. Kick the leg back. Let's lift up. Knee goes up towards the ceiling and then scoops up towards my shoulder. Bring it back down. Now this is where I want you to try and keep externally rotated and bring this ankle in front of your other knee. It's harder on this side for me. Now, if you need to, hold onto your ankle with your hand, and then we're going to flutter that knee away. So I'm trying to push that knee that direction, which is left for me, and then my knee comes down towards my chest. Push it away. Good. Knee comes down. Push. So again, if you guys are in my classes, when we do the butterfly push and pull, it's very similar to that. We're going to do one or two more. And then last one. Now try and hold the leg in this position. We're going to lift it up off the ground. And again, the foot will probably pop out. Yes, you can see there, that's the difference between my passive range and my active range. So we're always trying to get our active range to match our passive. Bringing that leg back and around, lowering it behind us, and then coming back into the center. Lovely. Grab a little sip of your coffee or your water if you want. We're going to come up to the top of the mat for the start of our flow. Okay, so what we're going to do, feet just about wider than hip distance. We're going to come down into a cook squat. So we're reaching those hands down towards the floor, getting a nice big stretch. So this is where we're all just going to follow along, and I'm going to talk through what we're doing. So we're going to sit back and down now into a cook squat. Good, just get used to that deep squat position. Try and have your heels on the ground, and then let's push the hips back up towards the ceiling. Toe heel the feet back in towards the center of the mat. We're going to round up through that spine. If you need to use your legs to walk up, that's totally fine, but we're trying to round back up. And now, balancing on your left foot, I want you to try and hug that right knee in towards your chest. And what we're going to do is let go and try and see if we can hold that knee up in that position. Good, guys. So again, this is working that passive and active range. So passive is where I'm pulling it in, active is where I'm holding it. Lovely. Okay, what we're going to do is bring that right leg back behind us. And we're going to come down into our sprinter position. So just a little bit of a step behind, hands down to the mat. We're bending the knees and we're almost in that sprinter start. We're going to do a coat hanger. We've done this before. We push the hips up, getting a stretch on the front hamstring. Bend the knees, push back up. Bend the knees, push back up. And then we're going to come down into that sprinter position and we're going to do some ankle cars. So again, ankle mobility, really important for our squats. I'll turn around. We're going to lean forward, like what we did with our wrists. So I'm leaning forward, this heel is glued to the mat. My hands can come out in front here for a little bit of counterbalance, or if you want, your hands can be on top. And then what I'm going to do is push the toes and the ball of the foot down into the mat, but don't let my heel lift. So I'm pushing and pushing and pushing as if I'm trying to do a calf raise, but I can't. And then I'm digging that heel down, trying to pull those toes up towards my shin. So I'm trying to actively pull myself into dorsiflexion, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Lovely, guys. Let's push down one more time for 10, 9, 8, 6. Lovely. And then let's dig the heel down, pull up again for 10, 9, 7, 6, 4. Good. Lovely, everyone. And then slowly relax there. Stay in the position that you're in. I'm just going to pivot around. We're curling the back toe under, and then hands come out in front of our front foot again. We're going to push the hips back up. If you have the range, you can drop that back heel down as well to get a bit of an extra stretch. And then we're coming forward into that deep squat again. So feet out to the side of the mat, squatting down into our cock squat. And then pushing the hips back up, straightening the legs, and just toe heel the feet back in. We're going to do it the same on the other side. Rounding through the spine to lift ourselves up nice and controlled. Lovely. And then we're balancing on our right foot, and we're going to hug our left leg in. So finding that balance, pick a spot in front of you if it helps. Hug that knee in towards the chest. Again, keep the back flat, so no rounding. Keep the chest proud, and let's let go of that leg. Nice. Keep holding. Keep holding. Keep holding. And then we're going to kick back into that sprinter stretch on this side. So bend the back knee, coming down. Lovely. Yeah, good work, everyone. Okay, so let's push the hips up towards the ceiling. We're getting a stretch on the hamstring of that right leg. Come back down. Push the hips back up. Again, just go as far as you can. So this is going to work our own hamstring mobility, so we're not trying to force anything. One more time, pushing those hips up. Good. And then we're coming back down. And again, we're going to do those ankle, pelvic raises. So if you need to bring your other leg in a little bit closer so you're a bit more supported, we're going to lean forward, make sure that this heel is glued to the ground. Again, if it's a little bit easier, you can put your hands out in front or on top of your knee. And then we're going to push the ball of the foot and toes down into the mat, almost like I'm trying to paw the ground. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Lovely. And then dig the heel down, try and pull those toes up towards the shin. Again, we should be at our end range, so you'll maybe get a millimeter of lifting the toes up the ground, but keep pulling up. We're really trying to kick those muscles in front of the shin. And then second time and last time, we're pushing those toes down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's dig the heel down, lift those toes up again for 10, 9, 8, 6. Good. And then just relax there. Hands come in front. We're going to curl the back toe under again. And then let's push the hips up one more time. If you can drop that back heel down, please do. Don't worry if you can't. And then we're going to lean forward, step the feet out to the outside of the mat. You can go a little bit wider than you were before, and you can even let the toes come out to the side. Whatever you need to do to be able to come down into a deep squat position quite comfortably. Bring the palms of the hands together in front of our chest. Push the elbows out against the knees. And we're just going to rock side to side. Again, trying to keep those heels down. Good. Okay, we're going to go into a rotation. So left hand down, right hand up towards the ceiling. And I'm really trying to squeeze that shoulder blade back and down. So I'm activating the back of my shoulders. Good. Hand comes down. Let's change over onto the side. Left hand up. Squeeze that left shoulder blade back. Look up towards my left thumb. And then we're coming back in towards the center. Hands in front of the chest. What we're going to do is push the elbows out against the knees. Push the knees in against the elbows. Again, if anyone's legs are massively cramping, you can check them out, but we're going to try and stay in this position. Now keep pushing those knees in against the elbows. Now let's squeeze the glutes and try and pull the knees away from our elbows. So this is like what we were doing in the sideline hip curl. Opening up the hips here. Elbows back in towards the knees. Let's push the knees in towards the elbows. Lovely guys. See you guys shaking, don't worry. You need to shake them out. And then squeeze the glutes, try and pull those knees out to the side. Lovely. Okay, so let's bring the hands up behind our head now. We're going to go into a prisoner squat and then the elevator squats that I do. So we're going to lift up, hold, lift up, hold. Try and keep looking forward. Lift up, hold. Nice guys. Lift up, hold, lift up, hold. Shake out the legs. You can lean forward a little bit. Pedal out the hamstrings. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to just come down one more time. So toe heel the feet back out. We're going to try a crow pose for those who know how to do crow pose. If you don't, you can just stay in this position where the hands are in front of the chest, pushing the hips out. Crow pose, you're going to spread the fingertips, get those elbows hooked in, and we're going to lean forward slightly. If you're familiar with it, you can just go straight in. Otherwise, just trying to take most of our weight on our hands and just lift one foot at a time. Then place that foot back down, lift the other foot. So you're trying to spread the shoulder blades apart, take the weight on those wrists. Same again, lift the foot, back down, lift the other foot, and then we're pushing back. Nice. Rounding up through the spine, push the hips back up towards the ceiling. Now try and stay in this folded position. If you need to pedal out the legs, you can. We're going to go for some inchworms and then some high hip beasts, which again, if you're new, don't worry about it. What we're going to do is walk one foot back, other foot back, other foot back. Keep those hands on the ground. Lovely. So now we're in a plank position. Now we're going to go back the way we came. Walk my feet in, walk my feet in. Try and keep those hands on the ground. It's more about the hands being on the ground. Push the floor away. Tuck the right knee in towards the chest. So we're trying to tuck that knee in towards the chest. My left leg is straight. I'm pushing my hands into the ground. Good. Now let's inchworm back into that plank. We're all in our plank position. Lovely. Let's inchworm back in. I'm going to try and lift our left knee in towards the chest. Look back. Let my head come in between my shoulders. Try and tuck that left knee in towards my chest or my face. Good. And then let's inchworm back into the plank. We're going to do 2 of these on each side. Plank. Savage guys, walking back in. Onto the right knee now. Tuck that right knee in towards the chest. Lovely. Let's hold. Let's hold. Keep looking back. Biceps in beside the ear. Let's inchworm back and down into our plank. Arms should be burning now. Core should be nice and fired up. We're going to walk those hands back in. Last time. Push the ground away. Let's pull that left knee in towards the chest. Good. Let's walk those feet back. And then open into a child's pose. And just take a second to rest. Lovely guys. So catch your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going to pull ourselves forward into that quadruped again. And we're going to do some scap push-ups. If you find these very easy in a quadruped position, you're more than welcome to do them in a plank, but just make sure it's nice and controlled and you're not just dropping the hips down. So what we're looking for, squeeze the shoulder blades, spread them apart. Squeeze the shoulder blades, spread them apart. Squeeze and spread. 2 more. Spread. If you're in a plank, come join us in a quadruped. You're going to curl the toes under, and then we're going to do Jamie's favourite, a single arm pike push. So if you need to keep both hands on the ground, please do and push those hips up. Otherwise, lift your left hand. You can hold on to your torso, push the hips up, push the ground away. So we're working just that right arm. Again, you can have both hands on the ground if you need to. Just drop the knees down, push back up again, same arm. Drop the knees down, push back up. Let's drop the knees down one more time, push back up. Come back down into our beast position and change over onto the other hand. Left hand on the ground now, right hand on our chest. Let's push the hips up. Come back down. I told you you're working overhead. Push the hips up. Lovely. Come back down. Push the hips up. Come back down. 2 more. And then last one, push up. Come back down. And then child's pose again. Try and go to a wide-legged child's pose for this. The knees out to the side, your feet in towards each other, and sink the hips down. What we're going to do next are called frog push-ups. It is more about your hip mobility than trying to get the hips down. So hands are splayed out in front. We're going to pull ourselves forward. I'm keeping my core tight. My glutes are squeezed. And then I'm bending those elbows to lower down. So I'm only going as far as my hips will allow me. So we're not arching. We're dropping those hips down and pushing back up into that wide-legged child's pose. Lovely. So keep the knees down on this. Again, it's more about opening up the hips and then push back up into child's pose. Relax. Coming forward, dropping those hips down, push back up into child's pose. One more time. Coming forward, dropping down. Now, this is the fun one. We're going to curl those toes under. We're going to do a loaded beast, pop forward into a deep squat. So we're here, nice and controlled. Pop it forward. Let's lift the hands up. Hands can come back down. You can step back or pop back. We're going to do that again. Pop forward into deep ape. Nice, guys. Hands down. Let's step back. If you're in an apartment or upstairs in the house, you can step back or step forward. But we're trying to control that landing. Let's do one more. Step back. Again, if you need to, just step forward, down. Lovely. And then let's step back. And then we're into that child's pose again. Rest. Breathe in, breathe out. Good news is we're going to do that again. So hands slide forward. We're into those frog push-ups again. Again, core tight. Let's breathe out. Lower ourselves down towards the mat. Opening up those hips. It's more about the hips opening than anything else. Push back. Breathe out. Down. Pushing back. We're doing 5 on these. And then we're going back into those loaded beast to deep squats. So curling those toes under, knees just lifting an inch off the ground. Either step or hop forward into that deep ape. Control the landing. Again, you can pop back or step back. Hips go back to loaded beast. If you want to step, you're stepping right foot, left foot down into that deep squat. Back, step, into loaded beast. And let's do 3 more. Nice, guys. 2 more. Whoop. Step back, hips back, last one. Good, now just try and stay here in this deep squat. Good, guys, well done. Hands come down, let's all step back into child's pose again. Drop that head down. Breathe out. You can go do a couple of shoulder rolls in this position if it's more comfortable. Just release any tension. Now what we're going to do is a wave unload. If you need to, you can keep the knees down for this. Spread the fingertips. Let's curl the toes under. Lift the knees up off the ground and we're pushing those hips up into like a downward dog position. And then we're curling through the spine all the way over. Dropping the chest down, or the hips down, excuse me, the chest is up. Nice and proud, up towards the ceiling. And then what we're going to do is lower ourselves down. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder work here. So we're going to work one arm at a time. We're in this position where we're lying down. And we're going to do it like this. This is just a very quick demo. I'm going to do it in a kneeling position so you guys can see me a little bit better. Imagine that I'm lying face down. Hand is in the lower back. I'm rounding that shoulder back. My elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. I'm then lifting that arm up and trying to scrape my knuckles along the floor here. I'm bringing myself up into a wide position and then I'm pushing overhead and coming back down. Lovely. So we'll all do that together. Lying down, hand into the back, squeeze the shoulder blade back. Elbow up towards the ceiling, knuckles in underneath the elbow. Let's push up into that wide position. Let's rotate the arm in and around like we did in our warm-up. Bring that hand into our lower back, drop the elbow down towards the mat and same again. Squeeze the shoulder blade back. Let's lift up, elbow towards the ceiling, trying to get the hand in underneath the elbow. Rotate into a W, push up into a Y, and then let's bring the hand back and around. Lovely. We're going to change over onto the other side. So swap your other hand under your forehead, bring your left hand into your lower back. Elbows dropping down. Let's squeeze the shoulder blade back, left elbow up towards the ceiling. Release that hand, try and bring the left knuckles in underneath your left elbow, into a W, push up into a Y, and then keep that arm straight, rotate the bicep, reach back and around to bring the hand into your lower back again. Nice, bend the elbow, fingertips into the lower back, drop down, lift up, squeeze the shoulder blade, elbow pointing up towards the ceiling, knuckles in underneath the arm, into a W, nice and controlled into a Y, rotating that arm back and around. Nice, hand into the lower back. And then what we're going to do is bring the hands in underneath our shoulders, push back up into a quadruped position, and we're going to bring our left leg out. I'm going to pivot on my mat so you can see what I'm doing. And if you need to pivot for space, that's totally fine. We're going to do an adductor rock here. So we're trying to stretch our groin. We're keeping our lower back flat. Breathing in as we sink our hips back. Breathing out as we come forward. Breathing in, breathing out. If you see me from the side, I'm not rounding through the back, my back is flat. Just do this a couple of times with our breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Now try and sit back as comfortably as you can. If you need to flatten that back foot so you don't have the toes curled under, that's fine. We're trying to sit back as far as we can. If you need to stay supported, that's all right. What we're going to do now is try and rotate that thigh in our hip joint. Again, for some of us, this may not move, that's okay. But we're trying to externally rotate, pivot on my heel, come back in. Externally rotate. And again, my pelvis is facing forward, so I'm not rocking back. I'm here. If this is very difficult, you can lift up a little bit higher and see if that's a bit easier. Good, guys. One more on this. And then what we're all going to do is come up into that half kneeling position. My left leg is still out. I'm going to reach my right hand down towards the mat. And I'm stretching all the way over. Again, if I can lower that palm flat on the mat, please do. And then what I can do as well is lift that leg and down. Squeeze the side of the glute, lift the leg and back down. Lift, back down, last one. Let's hold. Reach, almost trying to like, imagine you're spreading from the fingertips down towards the heel. Nice big straight line. Lovely, and then let's come back down. Bring those hands forward and swap over onto the other side. Bring that right foot out. Okay, if you need to adjust yourself on the mat, please do. Lovely, let's drop back. Get that nice stretch inside the groin, inside the hip. You might feel it in your hamstring as well. Breathe in and then breathe out. Just going to do a couple of reps on this. And then again, we're going to come into that external rotation. So if you need to stay up high, if that makes it easier, that's fine. If you want to try and sit back as far as you comfortably can, so you're in your end range. And then we're just going to try and rotate that thigh. So if you can see, it's my knee as well. So it's not just my ankle lifting, it's that whole thigh trying to rotate in that hip socket. And my pelvis is staying forward. I'm going to do a couple of reps on this. And then we're all going to come up into that half kneeling position again. Bring ourselves up. Reach that left hand down. Again, you can stay on your fingertips, or you can drop that full palm down. Reach over, get a nice big stretch. Breathe out. And then if you can, just shifting that weight over, try and lift that leg up. If this doesn't feel good, just stay with the foot on the ground and focus on the stretch. Lift that leg up. Lift the leg up. And then let's hold, try and reach. Getting that big stretch. Trying to point with your heel, point with your fingertips. Nice, guys. And then coming back down. What we're going to do is a sideline pec stretch. Again, some of us have done this before. If you can't lie on your front, I just want you to come straight into it on your side like this. If you can lie on your front, we're going to lie back down onto our mat. My right arm is going to come out to the side with my right hand facing forward. My left hand is in line with my left shoulder. I'm looking out towards the left. If I want to get a bit of an extra stretch through my hips and my lower back, I'm going to bend that left knee, push up and over like this. So I'm trying to get a deep stretch into the front of that right shoulder. If it doesn't feel good at my hips, I can just leave that leg out in front like this. So just pick the variation that you want to do. And again, if it's too intense lying down, you can always do this against a wall as well. But I just want you to try and relax into this stretch. Just try and slow your breathing down. If you're feeling any points of tension, imagine trying to breathe into that point of tension. So it might be the front of the shoulder. It might be your left hip. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of a stretch into the lower back. And you're just trying to imagine that when you exhale, that tension is releasing. We're going to swap over onto the other side now. So again, if you can come onto your line, your front, we're going to roll over, bring that left foot back, and then I'm going to swap over onto the other side. So my left palm is facing down, my arm is out to the side. I'm going to look out towards my right, so like this, bending my right knee, and then I'm pushing over to get a nice big stretch onto that right side. Again, that right hand can just be out in front to kind of help push a little bit deeper. And again, we're just closing the eyes. Just trying to focus on slowing down that breathing. We're going to take 2 more breaths here, so just breathing in and breathing out. And again, breathing in and then breathing out. We're going to bring the right hand back to the mat, roll over onto our front, and then we've got 2 options here. You can either go into a wide-legged child pose, or you can come to lie on your back into a happy baby pose just for the last few minutes. So just make sure that you're comfortable with whichever option you're going for. If you want to go for the happy baby pose, there's a couple of different options. You can hold onto your shins and drop the knees out, or you can hold onto your feet and try and let gravity just open up the hips. Whichever variation you're in, if you're in the happy baby pose, you're trying to keep your tailbone up flat on the ground and the back of the head flat on the ground. And what we're going to do here is just focus on slowing down the breathing. We're going to breathe in for a count of 4. Hold. And then breathe out for a count of 6. Hold. Breathe in. Hold. And breathe out. Hold. Breathe in. Hold. And breathe out. Just going to try and keep that breathing just going in your own time. Focusing on counting in for 4. And then counting as you breathe out for 6. If anyone's in the happy baby pose and they need to bring the feet down, you can just bring the feet together, feet down to the mat, and drop the knees out to the side. in a reclined butterfly pose. Again, just taking a few more deep breaths here. Really try and feel the stomach expand as you breathe in. And then come down as you breathe out. Taking one more slow, long, deep breath. If you had your feet in that reclined butterfly pose, just bring the soles of your feet back down to the mat. Knees pointing up towards the ceiling. You're going to reach your hand up overhead. Roll over onto your side. If you're in a child's pose, you're just slowly pushing up into a kneeling position. And then we're done. Thanks, everyone.